You have the great advantage that there are other professions that have gone through this before you, and you can see what they've done in right and wrong. And you can see other industries as well, how they've screwed it up, because they waited for the change to happen. If you go down this route of protectionism, of protecting what we have and staving off change, you are signing your own death warrant. And if it's not your death warrant, your business is going to become way more difficult, and another firm or another that may be completely outside your profession.
What's the most important lesson that we've learned from the crisis? Well, to me, the lesson of the crisis is that you need to have a financial system that really supports the real economy. If you go back to the 1970s, most of the money coming out of the largest banks in America was supporting people that were growing businesses, buying homes, etc. Today, only about 15% of all the capital flowing out of the biggest financial institutions is actually going into the real economy. And ultimately, Wall Street and Main Street do reconnect. So I think getting Wall Street back into service of Main Street is a key thing that we need to have in the public debate going forward.
The main change that has happened is that American banks, and European banks for that matter, are required to hold much more equity, much more capital against their loan book. And they're required to have their financing be much more long-term versus short-term. So that should, in the event of future financial stress, make the banks much more stable. Of course, as one banker said to me, last time we almost died of a heart attack. What are we going to die of this time? The next crisis won't be exactly the same. So we died of a heart attack. That doesn't mean we cured cancer.
One thing that has slowly happened since the crisis is work on making sovereign restructuring more manageable and bank debt restructuring more manageable. I think we still have a long way to go. The lesson hasn't been fully learned. We see in Europe that a lot of policymakers are still resisting this move to letting debt be restructured in extremis. But that, for me, is by far the most important lesson. We didn't have it right before the crisis. We didn't get it right in the crisis. We may slowly be moving in the right direction, but that will determine how well we do the next time the crisis comes around.
I think to be the one that says, okay, it won't be the way it was. We can't defend the way it was, and we're going to have to imagine, what if we were to invent our industry now, knowing nothing? What would we do? And again, this goes back to the question of why. Well, why did you get into the industry in the first place? Did you get into this profession because your parents told you to and you can make a good living? You're not going to be the innovator. You know? Did you get in this industry because you love math? You know? You're not going to be the innovator. Did you get into this industry and do you love this industry when you really get to help people re-understand and reimagine how to build an organization? Because when you can understand the language of mathematics, when you can understand the language of a balance sheet, as clearly as you can understand the language of cultural change, it's kind of like that, right? It's the rational and the emotional. And we said it before, which is the numbers are only half a picture of the health of the business. And if you got in this industry to be of service to human beings who are trying to do bigger things for themselves, for their families, for society, for their customers, you might be onto something. So the question is, what value do you offer to the people who buy your product? Now, how would you do that in this new changing day and age? And literally ignore whatever was, because it's irrelevant, because it may or may not survive. The industry, the profession will do fine if you're the ones willing to blow up your own business. But if you're going to protect your business, it'll get blown up for you.